There are three things we need in a textual introduction: an introductory sentence, some interesting detail, and a proposition. Let's just say we've already done the introductory sentence and you've already done some interesting detail. Well, the last part of writing an introduction is getting the proposition right. This is what a proposition is. It is your one-sentence response to the question. I'll repeat that. It is your one-sentence response to the question. It could be started with "I think that" to help you remember that this is your response and idea. Though, when I read the essay, I shouldn't read the actual "I think that." You should get rid of it afterwards. And it should include either the name of the text or the name of the creator in it. So this proposition should have one of those two things, either the name of the text or the creator. So, say you're asked a question like, what makes The Lord of the Rings such an important novel? Well, I would answer like this. I think that Tolkien's novel was so important because it was one of the first fantasy novels of its type, and it made fantasy something adults could enjoy again. Okay, I hope you have the idea now of how to write an introduction. If you don't, go over the three elements again: introductory sentence, interesting detail, and propositions, and they always come in that order. If you put all these three parts together, the introductory sentence, the interesting detail, and the proposition, all the things I have done over these three major PowerPoints, you will have a complete introduction. It should read like this. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings in the early 20th century. Introductory sentence. The Lord of the Rings is a fantasy novel in which the main character, Frodo, goes on a long and hard journey. He has to deal with many evil creatures. He also has to cope with the creatures that have sprung out of Tolkien's imagination and their use of magic. This really is a fantasy novel for adults. That's all the interesting detail. And finally, the proposition. I think that Tolkien's novels were so important because it was one of the first set of fantasy novels of its type, and it made fantasy something adults could enjoy again.